Not even bothered. Not even bothered. Couldn't care less. No, in fact, I don't even know the score. Don't know who Rangers were playing. Who were we playing today? This isn't a post-match reaction pod. This is me video calling you to find out. You can tell me who Rangers were playing. Was it Aberdeen? Was it Partick Thistle? Livingston? I don't know who we were even playing the day because I couldn't care less. It's the league. It's domestic stuff. It's all byway as far as we're concerned. So doesn't matter a jot. I was just sitting there, no paying any attention to the game at all. I was just sitting on my phone. Because so many folks just sit on their phone, don't they? I mean, you're paying like 25 to like £50 a ticket for various football matches in Scotland, and so many folks just sitting on their phone through the whole game, and they're usually talking about the game itself on the phone, but you're like, watch the game, it's right in front of you. Why would you waste that amount of money? It's the folk that go to the pictures and talk their way through the pictures, through the film as well. Just go to a cafe, stand outside and talk. It's cheaper. You're wasting your in, and you're wasting my time. And so I can't do that. And then can't make that I wasn't paying attention by being on my phone, because I'll be getting the score updates, and it'll be the first thing I look at when I'm on my phone. Any occasion where I should be paying attention is the Fitbit, so I know exactly who we're playing and what happened today. So it's some analogue. The Racing Post. I was just reading the Racing Post all through the game because I'm all about the horses today with the Grand National. Beechersbrook. I was reading Hemingway, the Fiesta, Sun Also Rises. I'm always talking about that. The Basque. Let's get on that journey with the Basques through Euskal Herria. That's because setting ourselves up for Thursday night. That's what it's all about. Only thinking about Thursday night. No, I certainly wasn't reading The Good Soldier by Ford Maddox Ford and Edward Ashburn. And penknife. It just could do the job, just get it done in our way. Edward slashed it. That wasn't the book I was reading, but I wasn't paying any attention at all. Don't know what happened, don't know what the score was the day, because it just doesn't matter. No bothered in any way. 1961, Fiorentina, 62 Atletico de Madrid, 63 Tottenham Hotspur, 64 Sporting Club de Portugal, 65 West Ham United, 66 Borussia Dortmund, 67 Bayern München, 68 Milan, 69 Slovan Bratislava, 70 Manchester City, 71 Chelsea, 24th of May 1972, in front of 24,701 people in the Nou Camp Stadium, Barcelona. The referee was Jose Maria Ortiz de Mendebo Monasterio. And the winning team was McCloy, Jardine, Matheson, Gregg, Johnston. That's Johnston. We an E, Derek Johnston, Smith, McLean, Con, Steen, McDonald, W. Johnston, that's Willie Johnston. Johnston without an E. The winning goals were scored by Steen. Was it 23 or 24 minutes? Willie Johnston, 40 and 49 minutes. The opposition replied with goals through Vladimir Estrakov and Alexander Makovikov, and deep in the bowels of the Nou Camp Stadium, Barcelona. I think it might have, I'm hoping it's in the room where all the Barcelona players who've played for Spain have got their portraits hung. The 1971-72 European Cup Winners' Cup was handed to the winning captain, John Gregg of Rangers of Glasgow, of Scotland, and that's what it's all about. It's all about Europe. That's what that's just one of 5 European finals that we've played in. We've got our quarter final coming up on Thursday night. That's always been the focus of the big boys. That's always been the real focus of the football. I mean, Hibs, I'm hearing just off camera there, somebody said it was Hibs we were playing the day. What's the biggest crowd of Rangers Hibs games ever attracted? I think it's about 140 odd thousand. Actually, I think we used to play them in front of 100,000 just here at Ibrox. Late 40s, early 50s, Hibs won 3 league titles. We won the rest of them. Rangers against Hibs used to be the biggest game in Scotland by a country mile. The 2 dominant sides, the famous 5 against the Iron Curtain. Hibs, they've played in the first ever European Cup, the first ever Champions League, as was. There's been European Cup that was staged at Easter Road before it was staged at Anfield, before it was staged at Old Trafford, before it was staged at Ibrox or Parkhead. The Fairs Cup semi-finalists, 1960-61. Roma, they played it. It went to a playoff, that one, and Roma pumped them in the playoffs. But I think the playoff was in Rome. They have a habit of doing that kind of thing. The Italians. So Hibs got a pretty decent European history of their own. Did they play Leeds in a quarter-final? Maybe the Cup Winners' Cup in the 70s as well. I think they got to a quarter-final. Was that the UEFA Cup perhaps? But they definitely, I think Joe Harper was still playing for Hibs. They got to a latter stages, kind of quarter-final-ish a European competition. But we're definitely in a European quarter-final on Thursday night, and that is all that anybody here. Fucking hell. You're all going home for drink, aren't you? You're going home for the game. You're going to stop off at Morrison's and get yourself some cans or a wee bottle of wine or something like that. One of the wee cans that's the kind of cocktail in a can type thing. You're going to get yourself some bevy in your way home for the get. Well, hang on how I feel. I'm going home. I'm going to go via Morrison's. I'm going to get myself a box of tea bags. That's my Saturday night as well. Saturday, I started by having a coffee because I ran out of actual caffeinated tea bags, because I've got the caffeinated and the decaffeinated. So that's what I'm going to Morrison's for caffeinated tea bags. And once I accidentally got myself Tetley's. No, Tetley's is what I usually get. I accidentally got myself Yorkshire tea. It wasn't an accident. They'd ran out. The shop I went to, it was an emergency. I'd run out of either the decaf or the caffeinated. I think it was a decaf, because I got the square Yorkshire decaffeinated tea bags. They're square tea bags, whereas Tetley's is round, whether it's decaffeinated or caffeinated. So, I mean, I've got a jar system going on. Just keep them in the boxes, the big label on it telling you if it's caffeinated or decaffeinated. But I've got these wee jars in an effort to be kind of middle class, and so I've got a big jar for the caffeinated tea bags and a wee jar for the decaf, because I only have a cup of tea at night. That's the only time I have decaf, and it's like after kind of 7 o'clock at night if I'm trying to look after myself. But even then, sometimes I'm like, let's go crazy. I'm like, let's have a caffeinated cup of tea at 8 o'clock at night. But I feel it was quite a good wee mnemonic, because the square Yorkshire tea, but it's like square. It's decaf. It's not very exciting. So you're an old square by having that one. It's quite a good mnemonic. It was inbuilt, and I think somebody at Ibrox who's obviously got it's all Tetley's decaf and caffeinated, and they've got them mixed up, because we're absolutely buzzing, past 8 o'clock at night for European games, but we're just absolutely dying in our arse when it comes to domestic stuff. We're obviously having the decaf in the morning before the 3 o'clock kick-offs on a Saturday at Ibrox, on Sunday kick-offs. That's 5 straight games lost. It's just never happened before. So I'm going to Morrison's to get. Thank God I'm going to go up. I'm driving home for Ibrox. I can just go straight up, not towards the switchback, and just jump in after kind of that the road there, the main road, the dual carriageway to go into Morrison's that way by the garage. Because the other bit, if I'm walking there, and sometimes I'm taking the motor from my house, I come the other direction to go to Morrison's at Annie's Land. I'll go up the wee street. You don't notice. You don't. It's called Herschel Street, right? And the only sign for Herschel Street is on the USA Nails and Beauty Salon, and the side of that, and that sign faces onto the Baptist Church, the Reformed Baptist Church car park, which folk were walking through when it came to the thing, This guy. I needed that, mate. Thanks, Bob. What's up, neighbour?
Andy Hillis.
Oh, you Andy? Christ almighty, how you doing? Folks, this is Andy, a legend here on the Fat Egg podcast.
Today was a disaster.
It certainly was. I'm just telling folk about the decaf tea that I get at Morrison's, mate. Folk are you're denying folk the stuff they really want to hear here. You're
a legend. You're a legend.
Andy, so you, buddy. Thanks very much. Look forward to Thursday. What a guy, Andy there, superb. I could smell the decaf tea coming off him as well. Absolutely terrible. I got the, and it's the Morrison's, and up to Herschel Street, and you've got the sign. It's Herschel Street is the road that I go up, and I think it's. We'll put it this way. I tell you, it's the Reformed Baptist Church. It's got the thing there. And it's doing for that is the estate agents. That's called Eve. It's Eve Estate Agents. And at the end of the street, it's not a proper street, because it goes to the left, but that's a different street, and it's Foulis or Fools Street or Foulis Street. It's Foulis Street. So it's like, this is foul, this street is foul. And you've got at the top of the street, actually facing you as you turn to go up Herschel Street, and it's murder because there's always motors double parked there, and there's a beautiful wee tenement on it. But obviously that's folks' houses, and so there's a lot of. A lot of the lorries are supposed to go the kind of service road to Morrison's. You end up going up Herschel Street, and it gets blocked and all that. And I'm always worried I'm going to dink the motor going up there, and there's a few potholes and that. And then folk they get used as when they were doing putting the lifts in either side Annie's Land Station. Well, they started using that as a access, as pedestrian access. So they're going through the Reformed Baptist Church and. Car park and coming on the street, and it was mobbed. You're driving around, you're going to knock somebody down, and they were building all these wee temporary ramps and stuff. It was just an absolute night, and it's never been very good. But now it used to be you would go straight up and you would go into the dole, the gyro. Basically, you go into a gyro. It was kind of job centre was straight in front of you, but that's all been knocked down. So the gates are shut, these big black steel iron gates at the top of this very short street, and it just, somebody's written across it or spray painted it yellow, kind of horrible mustardy colour. right across these big dingy black gates, and it's just end of the road, site closed. And the Baptist church get the signs up about, believe. It's all very lit, and I think the sets of lifts for Annie's Land Station. You remember you seen Wild at Heart with Mickey Rourke and Robert De Niro, and that. It was a scary film in its day, and he keeps having this memory of him going down these stairs, or going down big stairs. Down the elevators, down big lifts, down to the bottom, down to the basement, go down the way, and things getting a bit hot and burning. I think that's why I'm never using the lifts at Annie's Land Station. I feel as if, and it's like, I just found out recently it's called Herschel Street, and it kind of reminds me of a Hillis underground in Kreuzberg, the U-Bahn station in Kreuzberg in Berlin, and it always made me think, this just sounds like Hell's Gates, and I usually go up there and it's quite kind of depressing. I'm going to go up there, I'm going to avoid that way. It might come out that way tonight, and it just feels it'd be quite appropriate after the day we've had. Andy, come back. I want another hug, mate. It wasn't very good, but this is your Fat Egg Rangers. This is Fat Egg post. Rangers have maintained their and extended their unwinning, undrawing, losing run at Ibrox. It was already a world record losing 4 straight games at Ibrox, and now we've lost 5. Is it 5 or is it 6? I'm actually starting to lose the plot here. What have we got? We had Queen's Park in the Scottish Cup, that started. Then we had St Mirren, then we had Motherwell, then we had Fenerbahce, and now we've got. It's 5. The Hibs beating us a day, and we're also maintaining our record in league games of conceding 2 goals. We have this thing of when we concede 1 goal, we concede a second straight. Also straight after, it's 2 consecutive goals. We are conceding in, I think, all but one of the games we've played under Barry Ferguson. That was one away to Fenerbahce in Istanbul. We conceded 2 straight against St Mirren and Philip Clement's last game as well, and we've pretty much maintained that record. It's the first time since 1893-94. Pretty sure that's the only other season that we've done it. I saw that on the BBC website. 1893-94 was the last time Rangers conceded more than 2 or more goals in 6, isn't it, consecutive games in the league. I'm basically starting to lose track of all the negative things that are happening to Rangers in the league. Reaction pod coming to you in association with Gersnet. Check out Gersnet last night. It was my fellow James Tavernier acolytes, Scott Bradley, and he was on with Craig Ray. So check that one out, 9 o'clock. I don't know, I've not had a chance to find out yet who's going to be on Gersnet tomorrow night, 9:30, the flagship show. But yet again, they've got a difficult job on their hands. They should just ignore the FITBA, just ignore the league game and get on to previewing the European game. That would be my advice. I'm sponsored by them, and I'm also sponsored by delivery drivers that come to your door and just think they managed to pack in as much passive aggression in the space of the simplest transaction in the world. You give me that bag, mate, here's the tip that I'm going to give you. And it just, your key's still on the door there, mate. You want to make sure you don't want to get yourself robbed. And I'm not having a go, I know it's going to happen. That's about these guys it's a shitty job. And I'm not talking about the boys in the e-bikes and all that are obviously on a dodgy visa or something like that, or escaping some war-torn country, something like that. They're probably kind of brain surgeons or something like that, and they're having to deliver out. I'm talking about this guy last night had a fucking BMW, a state-of-the-art BMW. I opens the door and he's standing there, like with the bag sat up in his arm, like close to his shades on as well. And the daft thing was, I'm like, just get a guy. I'm now paranoid about this thing here. See if you get something like Domino's, fine. Sometimes Domino's, you get, they're obviously students are doing like a philosophy PhD or something like that, and they feel a bit kind of self-conscious about having it. And you feel like going, it's a fucking great job. Delivery driver, you are saving my life, mate. Delivery drivers are the most important people in my life in many ways, and all through lockdown, they were doing it. They were the folk that went to great lengths to leave big thing. We stayed in this house all through lockdown. The wee kind of one of the wee porch bits on it, and I get a chair all set up, and about the hand sanitizer was there for them if they wanted to use that. I just left a note saying your tip's on the wee windowsill there and that kind of thing, and you tip big during lockdown and leave. They'd write a wee note, oh, thanks very much, no, I know, they'd ring the bell, thanks a lot, cheers, pal, no bother. It was Domino's seems to be absolutely fine, but like, there's a couple of different folk, they've always got big fancy motors, and it's like they're just drinking in money. Oh, that's another chance to make more money. They've already got enough money, but they want to use it, but they feel kind of self-conscious, so they want to get in your face, and I think they think that you're part of an audience because they're delivering to folks' doors every night, and for them it's a big deal, you know, how they get. And I'm always trying to be as nice as possible. I'm a very I would say attentive customer almost to the point, but he's just he's holding his horn, doing it like put the horn like as if I was going to get down and I'll just put it in your pocket for you, mate. You know, I'm not going to be making a big effort here. I'm just going to take very passive aggressive. Quite a pantomime he was putting on there. I'm sponsored by that as well. In a bad weekend. My name's Alec Anderson. My heart aches and a drowsy numbness pains my senses, though of hemlock I had drunk and emptied some dull opiate to the drains 1 minute past, and lether words had sunk its not through envy of thy happy lot, but being too happy in thine happiness, that thou light-winged dryad of the trees, and some melodious plot of beach and green and shadow numberless, singest of summer and full-throated D's. They wains, man, they wains, all power to them. Still adoring those players after that today. That's the hope in it, that's the hope that these folk they don't really care about the result. They know this the team they're going to stick by. My name's Alec Anderson. This is your Fat Egg Podcast. The Fat Egg Podcast, the podcast where you know, your end will always be open. I mean, so you'll always keep the end. No, they're going to shut the Copeland. Where the singing section will always remain open. No, I'm always singing and all that. But this is the Fat Egg Podcast where I'll never close your end. My end's always open. Is that why it was written up in the toilets? Because I said that before. They had it written up in the toilets in the cubicle in the main stand toilets there. I saw my name and my phone number. How did you get my phone number? Alec, his end's always open. And I was just that's no what I meant. That sounds a bit. It's this end that's always open. The end, because I'm always talking. I'm always yakking, and sometimes I do singing. Some entertaining folk. It's fun. So I scored it out and I just wrote, fun with Alec's mouth and the Twitter and my phone number. I've got a lot of feedback, a lot of folk getting back to me. I've no time to talk to them yet because I've got to talk to you about the game. But I will never shut your singing end. My end's always open. That's it. Thanks very much, folks. Just a whole lot of preamble. I am not going because there's nothing to report. I'm talking to you outside the most beautiful stadium in the world. After the continuation of the shittest run in Rangers history in terms of home games, 6. It's getting quite loud. Can you hear that? I'm going to move away. Try and get a bit of... It seems kind of rude to walk away from genuinely enthusiastic Rangers supporters at this point in time as if they're not being miserable enough, but... this podcast is probably going to be even more depressing before the end. It's been depressing enough already. Thanks to Andy for coming in and cheering it up a wee bit, giving you a bit of temporary respite. At least you got to look at one good looking guy in this pod, but the least I can do is maybe try and get this finished off. And there's a lot of the there was nothing. The game itself, Rangers out onto the park. We could beat 2.5 Hibs. That's what I'm trying to say in the SPFL Premiership. We are now 15 points in front of Hibs, and we've got 6 games left to play. So have they in the league. So 80, they could catch us. They could still catch us, and we are 13 points behind Celtic, but they've got the game in hand. So we're still in the league. We're in the hunt for the league title. It won't be over this weekend. It's going to go another week. The old league title race. It's exciting, taking it right down to the wire as usual between ourselves and Celtic. Same old story, dominating Scottish football, the old firm. But I would get beat 2.5 Hibs a day, and it's just quite unbelievable what we're watching in the league these days for Rangers that are at home. It's 5 straight home defeats, quite a thing. I mean, you can turn round and say to the grandkids and all that now, you weren't there, man. Especially if this takeover happens and we're suddenly filthy rich and we're dominating, winning just countless league titles and bringing home European trophies and stuff like that, and then, this is great. Oh, you don't know what it was like when we went 5 straight games, losing every single one of them. I keep going to say 5 straight games without a win at Ibrox, and that really is polishing that turd something something spectacular. It is 5 straight losses. We've had Queen's Park in the Scottish Cup, our worst ever defeat in Scottish Cup history. Losing 2-0 to St Mirren, that got rid of Philip Clement. We lost 2-1 to Motherwell, but that was Barry's first home game, only his second game in charge at such short notice, taking the job on, so we couldn't be too. They just blame that on the players. It wasn't going to be Barry's fault. We lost 2-0 to Fenerbahce, but that was ended up a great night because we'd won the first leg over in Istanbul by 3-1. And it went to penalties, and we won the penalties, always exciting, into a European quarter-final. Actually one of the most memorable nights in our European history. And then we have today. It's a variety of results, and we didn't even lose 2 consecutive goals in all of them. We only went out 1-0 to Queen's Park. Remember, they scored with their only shot on goal the whole game. And there's a bit of that again today, but I would imagine possession-wise, we've dominated the possession stats again, which means we're not going to get on very well. It's going to be a struggle at best. We do best without the ball, which is a bit of a problem. We started, I think it was a 4-2-3-1, but at times to me it looked like a 4-2-1-3 with Diamandi kind of sitting a bit further forward, and Czerny on the right hand side. Egeman was playing the left hand side, and Dessers in the middle. But I think Dessers was a bit further forward, so it was 4-2-3-1. It's hard to tell when I'm sitting in the main stand. Sometimes it's hard to tell because Rangers were shite. It has to be said, we were just shite this game. We had more of the ball than Hibs. Hibs were having to sit in deep and defend and work and all that, but just like everybody else does when they come to Ibrox. It's St Mirren, it's Motherwell, it's Hibs. Talking about league expansion this week, you could. Queen's Park have been gubbed 5-0. They've sacked their manager. They've sacked Callum Davison since they beat us in the Scottish Cup. They get gubbed 5-0 in the Challenge Cup final last week, and they get beat 5-0 during the week by Airdrie, who I think are bottom of the Championship. But you could basically make it a 22. You could make it a 22-team league because there's everybody below Rangers and Celtic is much of a muchness. They could all beat each other on their day, I think, and that's been proven by the fact this run started with Queen's Park beating us 1-0, and it continues the day with Hibs beating us 2-0. It's a great run for Hibs. They've been a fantastic run, and I thought this was going to be their crowning glory. I thought it was going to be more. They'd go 2-0 up, we'd bring it back to 2 each, then they'd win 3-2 with a last minute goal. But no, we still had to think of them, the opposition scoring two straight goals against us. It's happened against Dundee. It's happened even when we beat Celtic 3-2. They pulled it back to 2-1, then 2 each. It's this thing of conceding 2 straight goals. It's a kind of characteristic of this appalling domestic run these days. But I thought we had John Souttar was playing centre defence along with John Sterling. They were the centre halves. Tav and Hefty were so far forward all the time, but I'm pretty sure they were our 2 full-backs. Tav seemed to be kind of everywhere, so I don't know if there was something supposed to be going on there. He was right in the middle of midfield at times, trying to break shit up and make things happen. It just wasn't in any way successful, whatever he was trying to do. Nobody was. Conor Barron and Nico Raskin kind of sitting. It seemed like Diamandi is a bit further forward. And then, as I say, you had Egeman playing off the left. Czerny, Václav Czerny, who's an injury worry, totally ineffectual today. A terrible game. He played for, 65 minutes, 64 minutes, something like that. No, in fact, it was less than an hour. It was less than an hour. But the reason I've got 64, 65 minutes in, because it was when Václav Czerny went off, I think it was just before the hour, and on came Bajrami. There was a good crowd today. It looked pretty much full, which is quite remarkable considering this run of form. And there was like a trickle of applause, barely any applause at this point in time, and we're only 1-0 down at this point. It was quite a thing. Off goes Czerny, a guy that we're all desperate to be fit on Thursday night. So I'd say he's our player of the season. Hardly anybody's applauding because he's just been shite, and the whole day's been shite. And on comes Bajrami, who's cost us quite a pretty penny, and nobody's got any hope that he's going to do anything, but he did. There's a lovely ball from Nico Raskin over the top. Bajrami coming through from deep, and he curls a shot kind of round the keeper, but it comes back off the top of the bar on the 64th or 65th minute. I think that's when that was. That's why that stuck in my head, because that was the closest we came to seeing Rangers scoring a goal. Honestly, we had, I think, Cyril Dessers and or Egeman around about 28 minutes. There was a lovely layoff by somebody that was up the far end. It was in the shade. I'm in the kind of up the Copeland end of the main stand. Hard to see who was passing it to who. It was a lovely layoff by somebody, and then somebody kind of misses a really good chance for a kind of tight angle, and about 2 minutes later Dessers goes through, or it gets played to Dessers, and he puts it over the bar from quite close on. He went through on goal in the second half and had a shot at the keeper saved. I think that was ruled offside. and he went down for a bit of a tumble in the box, which the referee ruled out straight away. I just bumped into a couple of pals of mine, and they were telling me the referee was absolutely terrible, and I couldn't agree or disagree, because I just stopped paying attention today. I really just stopped taking it on board. There was so little happening from a Rangers point of view, and just seen this movie before, it really was so boring, because you just knew exactly what was going to happen. There was no real incident from a Rangers point of view. That was it. That's me reciting everything memorable that happened in the game, apart from the 2 Hibs goals. Big talking point, 8th minute. Hibs didn't have a lot of attacks in the first half, but around the 8th minute they have a kind of weak-ass shot from the edge of the box. Jack Butland gets down to it and it goes under him. So it might be one of those ones I'd need to see it back in the television. I'll need to see what happened, but with everything that's been happening to Jack Butland recently, and that includes he's having magical moments. He's having great moments. Jack Butland against Fenerbahce penalty shootout, his assist against Celtic at Parkhead for the winner there. But the horrific mistakes he's been making against Motherwell here, against Dundee at Dens Park last week, you're automatically just thinking that must be Jack Butland. I don't know, was he unsighted? Was there a deflection? It just seemed like it was a really tame shot that he got down to in plenty of time, and it seemed as if he was on top of it, that he was just going to catch it really easily, and it just slips under him. It goes right. It looked like another horrific mistake, and it would have to happen today, wouldn't it? I can't face up to the Liam Kelly's got to go in goals against Athletic Bilbao thing, but this has just brought it all to a head. You're wanting Butland to have one good solid game a day. Even if Rangers get beaten, just make sure it's no Jack Butland that are having any mistake. It's having the big mistakes. But he's basically handed the lead to Hibs today. It looks like, anyway. So I'll need to see it back on the television. And we're facing this dilemma for a European quarter-final, in which I think we are going to get thrashed, to be honest. I thought that as soon as we drew Athletic Bilbao, but me. Murder. So that was it. We're 1-0 down, and then it was just Hibs were just playing us the way, kind of rope-a-dope stuff, the way everybody else has played us at Ibrox in these kind of scenarios this season, or in this run anyway. Because that was the thing, we were winning every game we played at Ibrox domestically up until that Queen's Park game, and now we can't win another one. And it's away from home, we're winning in the league, no problem. It's just completely flipped. But yeah, we'd only dropped points to Dundee United in November, I think, and that was it. And we lost at home to we'd beaten everybody in the League Cup. We were home, Hampden or Ibrox, and then bang, we get put out of the Scottish Cup by Queen's Park, and we haven't had a draw, as much as a draw domestically since. We haven't had much of a draw against anybody since Ibrox. It's quite unbelievable how quickly you get used to it as well, just a sheer lack of belief. We were trying, I said, Bajrami come on, he come on. I don't know if we went to a kind of 4-3-1-2 then, maybe was Bajrami playing at 10 again. I just get really bored and kind of stopped trying to pay any attention, and maybe we're having Dessers and Egerman and more as a kind of front two. I really don't know, because it was totally ineffectual. Hibs were just swamping everything, and they were starting at one point. I remember John Suter was up at 1-0 down into the second half. John Suter's up at the edge of the Hibs box making tackles to try and keep the ball in there, to try and keep them hemmed in. And just as you're thinking, oh, John Suter's up there, then you haven't even got a chance to kind of calculate. That means obviously we're a bit exposed at the back, and Hibs were just slicing us in two at the back. They had one kind of narrow miss, going through on goal, and then they went through on goal, just catching us in the break really quite easily. They slot the ball in. There's a massive, it was like 69 minutes. I was born 69. First team I ever saw us playing Hibs, so 69. There's a whole lot of stuff going on there. In 1969 we played Athletic Bilbao in the Fairs Cup quarter-final, which is, yeah. So they went through on goal, 68 minutes, 2-0, 69 minutes, 2-0 to Hibs, and that was it. There was a point that the referee, 89, 90 minutes, it was 7 minutes injury time, and everybody just kind of went, oh, we're going to have to sit here. There was no sense of, not even from the Rangers players, not even from Barry Ferguson, who put on young Finlay Curtis, took off Dessers, Hadji come on as well. There was one other something, Danilo come on for Diamandi, who isn't playing on Thursday, and was pretty quiet today as well. I thought everybody was quiet, everybody just wasn't on it. Hopefully they're holding back mentally, they're saving themselves for Thursday, but nobody had any belief what we're going to do anything in that remaining 7 minutes, and that was the way it proved. If nothing else, we're going to see Hibs becoming the first team to score 3 goals in a row against us. I think they went through and goal maybe another couple of times, but that was it. It was done at 2-0. The game was just over. Hibs players always done celebrating with their supporters, and that means so much to them. And that's one good sign, because it's getting to the stage where beating Rangers at Ibrox is not a big deal. It's getting to be that, and we've got a hell of a game, a hell of an opponent coming up on Thursday. I'm really looking forward to seeing Athletic Bilbao. I was saying to my pals there, I bumped into outside. It's a bit like the Liverpool. It's reminding me of Liverpool in the Champions League. I'd seen us playing Liverpool in friendlies. I'd been down to Anfield and seen Liverpool playing various teams in Europe as well. Just a kind of tourist to see Benfica and Bordeaux, get them off my list. But it's reminded me of when we drew Liverpool in the Champions League group stage. I'm going to get to see Rangers playing at Anfield. I'm going to get to see Liverpool at Ibrox in the European Cup, the old European Cup. Now, I grew up watching Liverpool dominating Europe in the late 70s, early 80s. This is going to be amazing. What a privilege just to be in the same. But you just kind of you're kind of saying, but I hope we don't get stuffed, and we did. And it ruined it. I now can't stand the idea of Liverpool in Europe. And Athletic Bilbao is a club I have waited long and hard to see in the flesh. I've done the tour of their old stadium and everything. I've been in Bilbao on holiday, and I'm dying to see Athletic Bilbao, but Christ, I just hope we can. I'm basically just, if we can get beat 2 or 3-0 on Thursday, and maybe 2 or 3-0 over there, the aggregate score's a bit embarrassing, but not a complete doing. That is the kind of most realistic ambition I have for us just now. But there is no getting away from the fact that it's decaf tea when it comes to the domestic stuff, and it's caffeinated tea bags, and maybe even a cappuccino at 9 o'clock at night when it comes to Europe. So if nothing else, if this is the sacrifice we've got to make to pull off an absolutely monstrously brilliant result in Europe, then fine. But it just seems to be we concede goals in every single game that Barry Ferguson has been in charge of us. And that was happening before Barry went. But mostly it's a minimum of 2 goals we're conceding in every game. It's dead on. It's not like a rough average that we're conceding 2 goals a game in Barry's 7 games in charge. It's exactly 2 goals a game we're conceding on average in across Barry's sample of 7 games. Maybe it's going to be 2-1, then 4-2. Then maybe we're going to get beat 6-3 off Athletic Bilbao, but they'll only score. You know, we'll keep scoring a goal to stop them getting 3 in a row or something like that. This is the desperation. This is to kind of look forward to really a massive night on Thursday, and yeah, I'll come back to you with a preview pod for that, folks. But there is nothing good to talk about in this game today. It was shite. Hibs on a great run. I mean, Hibs are doing fantastically under David Gray just now, but there was no sense today of we were dying to take that. We were dying to end that run for them. It was just a carry on. We gave it a go. We've run about. We've kept our shape. We've done the thing of having possession and been unable to do anything with it. It's hoping for a miracle against Athletic Bilbao is the only thing. I'm just hoping that we don't get hammered, so I can just say this was a season in which in Europe we got to a quarter-final. And that is a trophy in itself. That really is something to be totally proud of with Scottish football. The kind of position it has in the European game right now, coefficients and money and what have you. So just looking forward to, mainly from a domestic point of view, getting the takeover has got to go through. We've got to get a whole lot of money, or else it's got. I was estimating it was going to be the 2030s before we're able to get back to any kind of domestic dominance, even parity with Celtic in terms of trophies. We're obviously, more than parity with them just now when we play each other in the park. But hopefully, the only way we're going to get any faster in the 2030s was if there was some sort of massive injection of money, and that is what we need, and we need it fast. I don't see many of these players lasting. I don't know if any of them will be here next season, and it's season ticket renewal time is coming up soon, so we'll have to have a takeover. It's the only way anybody's going to rebuy their season ticket back. Isn't it? We're all gluttons for punishment. Aye, so that's that, folks. I don't know. I was going to do a wee thing talking about. It's the weather. It's this time of the season. It's this kind of weather. It's light at night outside. It's sunny, but it's cold, and I can't remember exactly what time of year it was. I don't know if it was, really early autumn or the spring, like it is really early spring, like it is just now. But I used to, when I didn't go to Morrison's, sometimes I'd take a wee poly bag with me and I'd stick it in my pocket, have it at the game, and I would nip back to the motor via Asdagovan if I'd have, might get myself some cans or some decaf tea bags or something like that. And you can park, I don't know what the street called, it's probably Tinto Street or Benburb Street or something, but if you want to go down to New Tinto Park, no, Ben Burb's ground. It's a street you go down off Shield Hall Road, off the dual carriageway. You just, when you head down there, on the left-hand side is Asda Govan. You can't get into it with a car for that side, but there's parking bays there. If you're really, they're always rammed straight away on a match day. But I must have been fortunate enough to get down there really early, so I could just walk across to Asda Govan, get my cargo, and then keep walking across. In the general, I'm that side. My house is that kind of side of Asda Govan, so I could just get in the motor and shoot up the road. That Tinto Park's on your right hand side, and right in front of you is a tunnel. It's a dark tunnel. And the road stops and it just narrows into a pedestrian and underpass that goes under the motorway. And I remember sitting in there one night after that, and I was listening to, it must have been it was Radio Scotland, which tells you it was around about 2011, 2012. And I was listening to Radio Scotland's phone-in with Jim, what was his name? God almighty, that fanny that we ended up having in his communications. The guy's at Radio Scotland, he was horrible. Radio Scotland host for ages, and he had a phone-in. He did the concomitant public attack on Derek McInnes, saying he wasn't man enough to take on the Rangers job. Oh, Jim, I keep going to say Jim Farry. Jim Traynor. He's our comms guy eventually, one of the strangest appointments ever. Considering the doings he would quite happily give us as part of his job with BBC Scotland. But it was the days when I was still listening to Radio Scotland Sports Sound after the games, and he had a phone in, and they had this guy, and it was like the second or third time he'd been on. And I'm sitting there thinking, why is this guy, he was allowed to be on, he was anonymous. It was anonymous, and they had him on every week, and they just granted him, he couldn't say who he was, or couldn't give you his name, couldn't say who he was working for, but he was in the tax business. It was in, he works for HMRC or something like that, and the fake gravitas in his voice and that kind of, it's almost Presbyterian, it's like, the cliched kind of stereotype of a Presbyterian, kind of lecturing, hectoring, but it's that kind of, I'm really trying very hard to sound very amiable and affable and ultimately believable. I bear no malice at all, but I'm just telling you that Rangers are going to be £75 million they're going to owe tax-wise, and they have to go bust. There's no way out of this. And it was just like, yeah, and it was everywhere, all over the news, all over the papers. I was writing about it for When Saturday Comes and stuff like that. I was blogs and things about it, and it's just like, this sounds bad, and everybody absolutely hates us for committing a horrendous. Everybody avoided paying tax. Everybody had their wee ways of getting out of it, but we had done it so much worse than anybody else. And this just proved that's another reason why we were the worst football club in the world. And at least where problems now are. We're in a European quarter-final, and we're going to finish a kind of distant second in the league, and we're going to be quite comfortably in third as well. This is as close as Hibs will probably get to this with the remainder of the season. You never know, though. You never know. We need to watch ourselves, but that's the only kind of comfort I can offer you right now, is that things were, well, fairly recently, it feels like to somebody of my age, things were a hell of a lot worse. At least we've got a European quarter-final to look forward to. I'm just hoping we can enjoy it and not take too much of a mauling. I'm going to go up the road, and I'll maybe, as well as my caffeinated Tetley's tea bags, I'll maybe get myself a wee draft of vintage, beaded bubbles winking at the brim and all that. But I'm seeing you tonight, Saturday, with pie in my face, custard pie in my face again. But you can look forward to Thursday, where I'll be wearing a nice basque. Oh, Christ almighty, that was bad enough, having to tell folk about that result and that game the day, and you've left them with that image in their coupon. Just give it a rest, mate. It's time for you to pack this shit in. It really is.